Hi, I'm Zach Fagenson with Miami Today, and I'm here at the Coast Guard Sector Miami for an interview with the new commander, Captain Christopher Scraba. Mr. Scraba joined the Coast Guard here in Miami in the midst of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, and in his first weekend had to deal with 33 cases. Since then, he's been focused on keeping 182 nautical miles of South Florida's shoreline safe, and he's also focused long-term on working with the Bahamian government to ensure Miami is safe, with Bahamas only a short ride away.
The average day for me usually starts, I leave my house at 6 in the morning, come in and do a workout every day for about an hour, whether it's running on the beautiful beach here in Miami Beach before the sun comes up, or hitting the workout locker. And then after that, we'll have an 8:15 staff brief where the command center will provide a briefing to me on all the cases that we have gone through in the last 24 hours. And then from there, we normally have our morning meetings dealing with different topics, as well as any active cases that I'm dealing with. I have a phone that is attached to me 24 hours of the day, and as my wife will attest to, we get calls all night, all hours of the night. My first weekend here, I had 33 cases. I had 17 search and rescue and law enforcement cases and 16 pollution cases. I took over on the 25th of June, which was kind of the height of the Deepwater Horizon situation. So we were getting a large number of tarball reports throughout our area of responsibility. Just to let you know, out of the 79 cases that we dealt with, totaling 142 tarballs, none of the tarballs had any DNA that was directly connected to Deepwater Horizon. We are along this Florida Straits is almost like Interstate 95 from a highway perspective. The amount of shipping that transverses along the coast of Florida is incredible. So unfortunately, some of them dump their waste over the side or their oil, and it gets weathered and it turns into a tarball. And with the public having a heightened awareness of the cleanliness of the beaches and oil coming up on other parts in the Gulf of Mexico, we were getting a lot of reports. So that's why it made for an interesting weekend. My first night, I had a boarding officer who was assaulted in St. Lucie Inlet. So that was a pretty interesting case. 3 o'clock in the morning, I get the call that the member was stopped. He and his boarding team tried to stop a vessel with no lights on in a no-wake zone. So from a safety perspective, they were trying to stop it. When they started talking to the master, who's also the only person on board, he was uncooperative, and once they frisked him and determined that it was an unsafe situation, and they arrested him for his activity that he was involved in, as well as his comments made to the boarding officer and assaulting him. We turned him over to the Martin County police, who did another search on him, and they discovered personal use illegal drugs as well. So the member has been arrested and for the assault of a boarding officer. And then just recently on Sunday night, 2 nights ago, we had a vessel that was about 25 miles from Bimini, and it had no lights on, so it was running darkened ship, as we call it, at a high rate of speed. One of our patrol boats came across it, tried to stop it. The vessel refused to stop, refused to heave to, and as the vessel was maneuvering about, it tried to throw all of the evidence of illegal drugs, marijuana, over the side. And next thing you know, it rammed the 110-foot patrol boat. The vessel was then stopped. We had a Station Miami Beach 33-foot interceptor come out and fire warning shots. The master still refused to stop, and then we put disabling fire into the engines. Nobody was hurt. The engines stopped running due to the successful marksmanship of the shooter on the 33-foot interceptor, and they put their hands up and knew they were under arrest for illegal activity and the U.S. Attorney is working on that case right now, and we turned them over to one of our many partners. The DHS is ICE and Customs Border Protection. It was an interesting question because my father and brother were in the Army and Army National Guard, so I was the first one to be a blue suitor. I wanted to go to a service academy. I liked at that time in 1981 when I came into the Coast Guard the mission of law enforcement that the Coast Guard did and search and rescue. The Coast Guard trains and then carries out its missions 24/7 on a daily basis. The other services in the early 80s were still involved in the Cold War, where they were training for something that you hope would never happen, which would be a nuclear war. Conversely, the U.S. Coast Guard, what they do for training, they carry out every day. Search and rescue, law enforcement. It's a very, very proactive service that carries out its mission and protects the U.S. citizens as well as our borders. And that really is what got me to want to join the Coast Guard. And somehow I made it through the Coast Guard Academy. And now, 25 years later, I'm here at the sector.